Sam Altman has said that there's going to be a one-person billion-dollar company because of AI. And I always thought he was crazy until today, because what I just did, what I'm going to show you in this video real time, and we're going to build it together, is an absolute game changer. I think after this, it's possible that I will never have to hire another full-time employee ever again, because I've found a way to consistently and methodically create AI employees for my business so I can do more while still controlling kind of the direction and the ethos of my business, but all of the implementation is taken care of. I'm talking about building AI agents and AI employees in Claude Code. Hey, I'm Craig Hewitt. Welcome back to 100 Days of AI. If you've been following along, you know that we use Claude Code a lot for coding, but really, I saw this post recently and they were like, yeah, Claude Code is a misnomer because it's really Claude Local, or Claude Agent is what they should be calling it. Anthropic as a company is kind of a coding-centric product because they're a bunch of developers, and developers love to make developer tools. But I'm using Claude Code for marketing. I'm using Claude Code for operations, and I'm using Claude Code for everything that needs to get done inside my business that I don't want to do the grunt work of. I want to operate at a high level strategy. I want someone to do all the research, do all the implementation, and then I take it to the finish line. I've heard this analogy of like a 10-80-10 from Dan Martell. 10% is direction and strategy planning. 80% is AI doing the work for you. And the last 10% is kind of bringing it home and finishing things up. And that's exactly what I've done with a content marketing, SEO, and research employee for me with Claude Code. I'm going to review exactly what I did. And then I'm going to show you how to build a new one for email, right? You're going to build myself an email employee that's the best person there's ever been at email. And we're just going to build it real time in this video, okay? So I'm going to dive into Cursor here. Cursor, scary looking program. It's an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. But all that really means is it's a place where you write code, okay? So inside Cursor here, we have a couple things going on. We have on the left, we have this project, and the project is called Claude Writer. And inside this, there's a .claude folder. And here we have two things going on that are really the beginning of the workhorse here. One is agents. So the whole purpose of the Castos writer is to write long-form SEO content for my business at Castos. So castos.com, if you want to check it out. We're a podcast hosting platform. We've done a ton of content marketing and SEO over the years, and we want to use AI for a lot of it going forward, right? But it needs to be really, really, really good because content's just really hard these days. And so it can't just be like, hey, write me an article about podcast advertising. It has to be like, make this the best possible thing ever, something that you would have charged hundreds of dollars, someone would have charged you hundreds or thousands of dollars to create. We can do in a few minutes just with a click of a button. Okay, and so within the agents, it has an editor agent, and this is a system prompt for it. By the way, Claude Code created almost all of this by itself. Funny story, I was at my son's basketball practice. We're not allowed inside. And so I sat in the car and created this the other night, just on my laptop in about 20 minutes. And we're going to go through real time and create this for an email employee. So it'll be the best possible person ever at email marketing. We're going to create that real time here towards the end of the video. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is a system prompt for an editor. So it already has a piece of content. We need to edit it. I can invoke the editor agent, internal linking, keyword mapper, metadata creator, performance. So this goes out to these three data sources, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and data for SEO to pull real-time data from my website, and data for SEO is for other websites to see how we're ranking and what our priorities should be. And then an SEO optimizer agent. I'm going to show you how all this works in just a second. Those are the agents that Claude Code created for itself. And then we have slash commands, like we can analyze an existing piece of content. We can optimize an existing piece of content. We can review our performance in the past. It can research, like I want it to go create a new piece of content. I invoked this just a little bit ago. We went and wrote a new piece of content. That's cool. I can rewrite, and I can write a new piece from scratch. We're going to walk through all this in just a second. Okay, so these are the kind of arms that this employee has, right? So it's not just one employee, right? It's like it can do several tasks, and I can invoke some of them in commands manually, and some will just run automatically every time that it needs to do something, okay? But here's the most important part. We have context. So if you've ever used AI for like, hey, go write me a blog post or go write me an email, It doesn't know all the stuff that's in your brain about your brand and your purpose and your values and what you stand for. But this one does, because it created this brand voice file. It says, hey, this is who we are. And it knows this because this is the part I went in and manually did. So this is that 10% bit. I went in and populated a lot of this content with what I want my content to represent. So I did that for brand voice, for features. Hey, what kind of features does my product have that are really important? I populated this. SEO guidelines. This one was really important. Like, hey, how should this write? What kind of parameters should a piece of content that this creates operate within? Things like length and keyword density, and don't add fluff, and identifying primary keywords, keyword density, things like that. Okay. And then probably the most important is I seeded it with several examples of writing from our website that I think are the best representation of our content and our brand. And it's the entire blog post. So you can see here, this is like an entire blog post here that I put in, and I put in 5 of them, I think. You can't put in like all of them, that would just be too much. But this is the real key, because AI systems are only as smart as the context that you give them. And so what I've done here is I have a whole folder with, 10 different large files to give Claude Code an enormous amount of context so that when I give it a task, it can do a good job. Because that's really where a lot of things fall down, and we say, oh, AI, sucks or whatever. It doesn't suck. It's just not giving it enough context. And so I've built a framework and a system and the agents and commands that expect this context every time. Okay. So I want to show you what we've done with this. So I mentioned data sources. So we have 3 real-time data sources that we're pulling in. So from my website, we're pulling in Google Analytics to tell, what's actually going on. How many people are visiting the site? How are they moving around? What pages are getting visits? They're doing the same thing with Google Search Console. So Google Search Console tells you what terms people are searching for in Google and how often they're clicking on those links to go to your website. And then data for SEO is a API kind of tool that gets data from something like Ahrefs or SEMrush and pulls real-time data of like what's showing up in Google, where your content ranks. Okay. I'm going to make more sense of this in a minute because I'm going to show you what we just did. Okay. So that's kind of the details. There's just a bunch more information here, but what I want to show you is kind of how this works. Okay, so I want to show you something that I just did literally today. And then after I review this, we're going to go build another AI employee just like this for email marketing. But I just want to highlight kind of what happened here. And then we're going to go start from scratch, build the whole thing, and I'll show you how everything works, okay? So what we have here are content priorities. In the research folder here, we have a couple of different pieces already, right? So we have content priorities, which was just created by an agent that goes and retrieves data from all of our 3 big data sources. So Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and data for SEO, and gives us the priorities that we have and why we should write about each of them. This is pretty cool because a lot of times you just come in and you're like, hey, I just don't know what to do, right? So that was cool. I ran into an issue though where I said, hey, I don't think that this opportunity score is exactly accurate, because like it was suggesting non-commercial keywords. So I just asked Claude, I said, hey, I don't think that's right. Go rewrite your opportunity score to consider commercial intent. So it did that. That's kind of a small detail, but I just wanted to mention that. Like, hey, it's not going to be right the first time out of the gate, but you can just tell Claude, hey, go kind of correct yourself, go course correct a little bit. But largely this was all done entirely kind of by itself. And then I reran it and it gave me these opportunities. So these are things that like I'm ranking on like the second page of Google, and it's like, hey, you're not far off. You can be on the first page if you just improve these. Podcast hosting, that's a pretty good word if I'm a podcast hosting provider. Audio editing services, yep, we have a managed services thing inside our company. That's a really good one for me, and it tells me where I am, how many impressions, how many clicks, and the opportunity score. And data for SEO says I'm at position 8, okay? And then it tells me how to improve these. Pretty cool. Okay, so I just want to show you one other thing, which is I created a new piece of content, and in that it does research. So remember these agents and commands up here, we have a research command. I ran /research podcast ads, and it came back with all of this content. And so another thing about like AI content being bad is like, it just doesn't have enough data, right? So it's talking about EAT, which is a big Google thing, right? So it has all this content. And then it says, hey, when I go write this, I'm going to do all these things. That's cool. And so it did that, and it created this article. So I did this earlier today. This is a 4,000 word article that is really, really, really good. I looked at this, and we're going to publish this like next week. So this is a fully researched, planned, SEO optimized piece of content that will probably rank on the first day that we publish it, because our domain rating is really high, right? So this is the output that you get for a single piece of content. So first it researched, and then it wrote, and it's in this output folder here. Okay. So we're doing prioritization, pulling in data from our 3 big data sources. Then we research, and then we write content. Okay, that's my specific example here. We built this in about a week, and just me, right? I say we. I built this in about a week. It's just not that hard. You just have to talk to Claude. It'll give you exact instructions for how you do everything. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to just close this out. We're going to start from scratch, and we're going to build an email marketing employee for your company. Sound good? Okay, so this is going to be real time. We're going to build this together. So inside Claude, or inside Cursor here, which is my integrated development environment, my ID, just where I run Claude code and I can see stuff, I created a folder that is Castos Email Marketer. So we're just going to say open project, and it lives for me inside this coding. And I created this one, and it's blank. So we're going to open this. There's nothing here, right? It's entirely blank. So we're going to close this because we don't need it. And we're going to open the terminal down here. And in the terminal, you see we're on my computer and we're in this project folder. So we're just going to run Claude. And okay, welcome back, Craig, running Sonnet 4.5 Claude Pro. Okay, so I'm going to use Super Whisper on my computer here to just talk to the computer and create a prompt for creating this AI employee. Okay. Hey, Claude, I would like to create an AI employee for myself. This is going to be the best email marketing tool and person that's ever existed. It's going to know everything about how to write really great copy, how to get conversions and clicks and people to read. It's going to write really compelling emails, but also emails that people take action on. I'm going to need a lot of context for myself and my company and the things that are important in my emails. Also give you examples of emails that I write. And then I want you to build out this employee for me. This will be a very thorough project that will be able to take commands from me like create a single email or create an email series or create an autoresponder. Consider all the best practices of email marketing for a SaaS company like me at Castos. You can visit castos.com to learn more about who we are and begin making this email marketing employee for me here in Claude Code. So it's a pretty long prompt, but we'll see how it does. You know, while it's going to think about this for like a really long time, but while it thinks about this, I just want to mention, don't be scared of the terminal down here. You really, like if you're using version control and Git, which is way beyond my ability to explain, but it's basically a way to control what you're doing on your computer and be able to go back if you break things. You really can't mess stuff up. Okay, so it's asking me, hey, do you want to go to castos.com? I'll say yes. Do you want to go to, okay, just go look at the go look at the website. It's going to go to my website and get a bunch of information. Go into castos.com, go into about. I want to probably tell it in the future that like, hey, you're going to need to go like, I'll give you a list of links to go to. I'll just tell us about that. Okay, so analyzing SaaS email marketing best practices. And I'm just going to want to make sure that it's going to go get and like build the structure for this that I want. So we'll see how it does and the kind of first bit that it does, but we're going to want to make sure that it has like a planning and an execution and a rewriting kind of agent or command built in. So we'll see how it does. So right now it's creating company context and brand guideline files. That's cool. I would guess this will give us, you know, my take with, you know, AI tools like Claude Code is this going to give us kind of 80% right at the beginning, and then we're going to have to refactor it. Tell it, hey, that's a great starting place, but you know, context probably isn't just a single file. It's like a whole folder where I have a bunch of files in there. And it might not create any agents or any slash commands like we saw in the other project. And we'll just have to tell it that we need it to do those things too. Okay, so it's writing a file now. So castos context.md. It's exactly what I said, right? It's going to have, it thinks it can have context just as a single file, which is just not enough, right? You can't have all of the context you need to write effective emails for a brand in a single file. And so we'll correct it and have it kind of expound on that to make it a folder in an area that the agents or the slash commands can go check out. By the way, slash commands in Claude Code are a time when you want to invoke a very specific piece of functionality, and it calls that system prompt that we saw before. Okay, so it's got this as context for me. Right out of the gate, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Okay, so do you want to accept? Yes. So we're just going to accept all edits during this because we're in kind of YOLO mode here. Okay, cool. So let's see what we have over here. So we have this castuscontext.md file. That's cool. That's pretty good. And so we have email best practices. Okay, that's cool too. You know, we're nowhere near done here, but this is a good start. Okay, so if we're doing an onboarding sequence, that's cool. So if you sign up for Castus, you'd get a 7 to 14 day sequence, welcome, feature, education, social proof, monetization. That's cool. Yep. So content types, yep, I agree with all that. Product announcements, purpose, best practices, trigger. Oh, like if they haven't logged in 30 days, do we want to email them? Yeah, for sure. That's a really good thing. I totally hadn't thought about that. So it's come up with its own set of emails that it would send, which are re-engagement campaigns. That's really smart. Promotional and upgrade. Yep, cool. So have folks come back, maybe like a Black Friday thing. Subject line strategies. Ah, cool. Yep. So it has its own. So we're going to have probably agents for all of these when we build this out. And we'll build out some of it here in the video. And then you can take this exact concept and go build out more stuff too. Okay, cool. So we have more stuff here. So let's see what we have. Okay, so in the .claude folder, we just have some kind of local settings. That's cool. Brand guidelines. So enthusiastic, okay, empowering, solution-oriented. Okay, cool. Oh, great. Okay, so it's built this email templates folder, and it's going to start dropping in templates here in just a minute, I would guess. That's cool. And so you can see down here it's working, and it's making this directory called email templates. Okay, so it wrote the brand voice guide. It wrote email best practices, all in just a couple minutes, right? As you're watching it build this real time. I didn't have this prepared ahead of time. It's just literally, it's going right now. And just for transparency, I'm on the pro plan in Claude. And this is the $20 a month plan. In Claude Code especially, you can get up to like $200 a month. And I might start doing that because I use the heck out of this thing now. And with these AI employees that I'm building, I would do most of my work here in Claude Code and in Cursor, my ID. There's this application that I'm running in right now. You could do most of your work in here. Okay. But with doing all of your work in here all day, you would just use a lot of tokens, a lot of AI credits. And with this, you just need to pay them more. And that's reasonable. $200 a month versus hiring a whole bunch of employees. Which do you want, right? Okay, so it's creating these email templates. So onboarding day 1, day 2, day 3. That's cool. I don't see them in this folder just yet, but it'll probably drop them in all at once. Okay, so we have email best practices. We have Castus context. I'll be interested to see what else it starts building after the email templates, because I definitely want like agents that run by themselves autonomously all the time. And I want slash commands. And so we'll just tell it that when it's done doing its thing for now. Okay, great. So we have a whole bunch of templates built out here now. So we have a newsletter template. So subject lines, email body, pretty cool. So it's got like, hey, this week we did these things, or hey, this is how you want to do this. That's cool. And again, like this is me just building this out. Whether this is right for you or your business, I don't know. I'm not going to be giving this away because this is just for me, right? But I'm giving you the tools, like teaching you to fish, if you will. You can get Claude Code and just do this yourself. You saw the prompt I had. It's just a plain English kind of prompt. And it's creating all these patterns and all these templates for us. Okay, that's cool. So onboarding. So what happens when you sign up? Hey, welcome to Castus. Let's get your podcast live. Really cool. Join thousands of podcasters who are building their audience. Takes 15 minutes. Get yourself live. That's awesome. So we have onboarding day 0, day 1, day 3. That's cool. So it's building out more templates here. So a product announcement template. That's cool. Yeah. So we build a lot of product at Castus. We're a SaaS company. So like that is our business is software. And so every time we have a new product announcement, thinking forward a little bit, I could just come in here, run a slash command, like slash write, create a product announcement email for this feature. And I could just describe the feature and it would write the email because it has the context of what a product announcement email should look like because it has this template. And it's going to have the context of my company, my products, our values, and things like that. So we're going to expound on this a little bit. You would definitely want to. I don't know if we'll do it in the video here, but you would definitely want to expound on this because more context, almost always better, up to a point. Okay, so it's creating a re-engagement campaign as well. Super cool. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video here just because this is going to run. This could run for 30 minutes. I'm going to pause the video here. When it's done, I'm going to come back and we're going to review everything that Claude Code has built for us, and then we'll probably tweak some things, okay? Holy cow. Okay, so it just finished up. I'm going to walk through what it did, and then we're going to see each of them, and we're going to open each one up, okay? So we left off where it was creating product announcements. So that's cool. It created templates for product announcements and re-engagement campaigns and all that kind of stuff. That's cool. Then it wrote a system prompt for this AI email generator.md. So let's take a look at this first. This is a system prompt for the agent, if you want to call it this, as a whole, right? So its job is to get opens, reads, clicks, and results. These are the assets and the piece of context you have access to. These are the types of things that you're going to do. And we're going to talk about slash commands, which it made for us automatically. Pretty cool. And then this is how you go about writing emails, right? Amazing. So just think about, like, if you have an employee, you would tell them all of these things and it just knows this. This is kind of how it's going to work. Okay, so it did that. So this is kind of a system prompt. Then it created a folder for commands. So up here in the .claude folder, it has this list of commands. So it says /create autoresponder. We're going to do this in just a second. We're going to create an email. So you are assuming the role of Castos AI email marketing employee. Read and internalize these files before proceeding. Pretty cool. It has the context. Triggering events, goals, timings, optional information, create autoresponder strategy. Single emails. Okay, amazing. Same thing for create a single email. And same thing for creating a series of emails. So pretty amazing, right? It has separate slash commands, and I'll show you how to run a slash command in just a second. So it did those things. And then if I come down here, it created a folder for examples. So let's leave this open, and we'll come down here and say examples. So this is where you would want to put your own emails in. So you've written emails for your company, put them in here. This is fine, right? But like, I want my own emails in here. And so we're gonna go populate this with our own stuff. And this is the same thing for like a welcome email. So I would want to make this much more robust before I use this for real. For purposes of demonstration, this is kind of fine. Okay, and then it kind of wrapped things up here and told us what happened. So it has this core knowledge, which is super cool. It has template library. It has a command interface, so we can run these slash commands. So / create email / create series and / create autoresponder. Cool. And it has a README file, which I'm going to open because README is for people to read to tell what the heck this employee does. So this is an AI employee that writes emails, knows Castos inside and out, applies SaaS email best practices. I didn't even tell it that we're a SaaS company. It just knows that. Creates any email style, personalizes at scale. Cool. Okay, so let's write us an email. I'm super keen to check this out. So write an email that is an announcement for a webinar that I want to do next week. This is legit. Like, I want to write this email before the end of the day. It's like 3 o'clock on Friday. I'm going to see if this can one-shot it for me. Okay, so I'm going to say / create email. And then I'm going to use Super Whisper to type the context. An email about a webinar I'm holding next Wednesday. That is how to win on YouTube. The context of this email is that YouTube is a fantastic opportunity for any brand these days. And we're going to show podcasters how to succeed on YouTube to grow their shows and their audience and get more reach for their brand. It's going to be at noon Eastern next Wednesday, October 29th. Okay, so it doesn't know. Yeah, I want to create my first email. Okay, so I don't know. There's a bug. This is what happens when you build stuff real time. So I said I tried this and it didn't work. I didn't register them properly. Let me fix that. Okay, so it's going to go away. Like, you don't need to know how to do all this stuff. You just have to tell it, like, hey, do all, go fix yourself. Okay, so it should do this. And then can we get this whole big old piece of context that I just did? Let's go see if we can get this. No, we can't. Okay, so and just for context, we had to quit Claude Code because it doesn't register / commands until you quit and start it back again. So I just typed exit. I think I typed quit and it exits, and then just type Claude again to start Claude Code running again. Okay, so that was the reason it didn't work before. So now we'll say create email, and I'll talk into Super Whisper to give it more context. We're running a webinar at noon Eastern on October 29th. That is titled How to Win on YouTube. And the purpose of this webinar is to show podcasters and content creators how they can succeed in creating great content and growing their audience and their following and their brand on YouTube. I'll be presenting. My name's Craig Hewitt. I've published 76 days in a row YouTube videos for my 100 Days of AI Challenge, and I've grown my audience from 0 to thousands of followers, and I'm going to show the folks on the webinar exactly how they can do the same thing. I'll provide a link for registration. You can just leave a placeholder for that for now. Okay, so we use the slash command. So just slash whatever the command is. We have 3 here, right? Create a single email, create a series, or create an autoresponder. It's reading these files. It's reading the context. It's reading the brand voice. It's reading email best practices. These are all just out of the box, but you absolutely can come in here and say like, hey, I want to improve Casto's context. Like for me, I would make this a whole folder and I would have a whole bunch of pieces of context in there because I think it's really, really, really important. Email templates, email best practices. Maybe you would want to come and tweak these, but in 10 minutes that we're doing this, we're getting something that's going to be really, really, really incredible. So it's reading this product announcement, which it's categorizing my request as a product announcement, which I think that's fine. If it doesn't work, we could just, hey, that's not quite right. Go create a new template for things like webinar announcements. That would be cool. Like that's reasonable. If you're doing a lot of email and a lot of content, you would have a whole separate format for an email that is like educational piece or webinar announcement. So it's going through and it's thinking really hard here, right? Thousands of tokens, pieces of information that's passing back and forth because it needs to understand a lot about what it's trying to do. So it writes a really good email. Okay, cool. Okay, so, it's giving us a lot of options here. So it knows the information, it knows the title, it knows me, and it created this email strategy brief. Okay, cool. So email type is a webinar promotion or educational event, just like I said. It's targeting all Casto's users. That's true. So it's not just people like on a trial or who are not customers of ours yet. That's really smart. The goal is to drive webinar registration. Timing, send 10 to 14 days before the event, which is right about now. And success metrics are registration rate. Okay, cool. So subject line options. Free webinar. I grew my YouTube audience from 0 to thousands in 76 days. How to win on YouTube live webinar. Cool. Pre-header, which is a little bit like preview bit that you see in Gmail. Join me for a free webinar October 29th. That's pretty cool. Okay, and so then these are the email body options. Hey, I have a confession. I was terrible at YouTube. For years, I knew YouTube was important for podcasters and content creators, but I kept putting it off. Too complicated, too time-consuming, and too competitive. All of which are true. Then I committed to 100 days of publishing daily YouTube videos. Okay, cool. And then it's giving a really kind of solid informational block here and why people would want to come and what they'll learn and the link to register right here. Pretty cool. Okay, alternative version. This is great. Okay, hey, this is a shorter version. This makes a lot of sense. I would probably publish this one, but this is just my style. You can do whatever you want. No fluff, no theory, just real strategies. That's cool. Okay, and then follow-up recommendations. I didn't even ask for this, but it's just given it to me. Email sequence. So this email as the first one, and then follow-ups 5 days later, last chance, day of reminder, and thank you and replay. Super smart, right? So maybe we could take this and say, hey, build this as a type of sequence. I would probably do that. I probably will do that after I stop recording. Say, hey, if I'm going to do webinars a lot, I want to have a whole game plan. So maybe a new slash command, which is like create webinar series that I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to grab all this and we're going to do that right now. Okay. Success metrics. Yep, all good. So you could pipe your email marketing software back into this AI employee for it to learn on the success that it had. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to say, okay, that's great. Thank you. I'm doing a lot of webinars, so I want to create a new slash command and a new template for the email sequence or series that you suggested. Here's the context that you suggested. Create me a slash command for this and a set of examples for these types of emails. So I'll do this, and then I'll come down here and paste this in. Okay, so now it's going to go create a new slash command here, and it should create a whole new email template here. Okay, so I'll create a webinar email series template and slash command for you. Let me start by creating the template file and then the slash command. Pretty amazing, right? So it's going off, it's doing, this will be a few minutes, but I just want to show the power of Claude Code not just for coding. Like if you're not a coder and you don't run a SaaS company and you don't want to write software, I get it. Like it's kind of hard, right? Software is really hard. But Claude Code, again, I think it is misnamed. It's like Claude Agent or Claude Local. All this is happening on my computer. It's calling the Claude API a lot. But what's so powerful here is you can just design AI employees that can run for you 24/7, 365. They never call out sick. They never have a bad attitude. They never have performance issues. They're just like, they're only as good as you make them, which is why I'm so excited about how powerful this is in designing these employees to do the really specific things that I want. Over the next few weeks, I'll probably create dozens of these because this took the whole thing, 20, 30 minutes. And then I can come back and use this over and over and over. And then the thing that will be the coup de grace is if you can have a conductor agent that sits on top of it that uses each of these and invokes each of these employees. So you imagine you have like, hey, I need a CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, that could invoke the email marketer and the SEO writer and the website optimizing, employee. That's going to be the future. And that's when knowledge work will disappear. We're probably a few years away from that. But that's definitely coming. Okay, so it's created this new series. Do you want to allow edits? You're darn tootin' sure. Just create all the edits you want. Okay, so this is the email series for a webinar. Pretty cool. And so it has all of the stuff in here about what this email should look like. So next time I want to create a webinar, I just go say, hey, I'm having a webinar next Tuesday. It's about YouTube. And it'll go write this stuff for me. So there you have it. This is how you can create your own AI employees with Claude Code in just a few minutes and just using natural language. And then you can invoke them and use them when and how you want. So you don't need to rely on an expensive freelancer that's going to flake out or an agency that's super expensive and doesn't really get you and your brand. You can just use AI. You can seed it with the context it needs to be successful, and you can win. I'm Craig Hewitt. This is 100 Days of AI. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, smash the bell. Tell a friend about it if you're enjoying this. That would mean the world. And leave a comment below with the thing that you're going to build first after this video.